October the 13th, 2025. Welcome back to the Two Witnesses Live. My name is Watchful, and it's time once again for your daily torment report, where we go through the posts of two of the men who are tormenting the world the most, by most accounts. Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Let's get right into it with Donald Trump. It was a pretty big day for him. Because today was the signing of the peace agreement and the return of the hostages that were being held in Gaza. So let's see. What's this? I didn't actually see this part. We watched the speech earlier. This is the signing. I don't know if we need to watch this, though. Nothing said, just the signing of everybody. It's a lot of people, though. So this could be an agreement with many. This could be a peace agreement between many. We had read earlier in Daniel.
I think we're going to hold it up.
So now the question is this when they say peace and safety? Or is this the one in Daniel 9 who makes a covenant with many? Daniel 9. I don't think this is, because he's not making he's making a covenant alongside many nations, not like he's making a covenant with many nations. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people out there who will say, yes, this is, or no, this isn't. I'm just not sure. It's really pretty much a let's wait and see. And see what else we have going on here. So some nice pictures. Let's see. Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif praises President Donald Trump at the Gaza Peace Summit. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your example. Let me see. Is this what he said here?
Peace has been achieved after untiring efforts led by President Trump, who is genuinely a man of peace, who has relentlessly and untiringly worked throughout these months, day in and day out, to make this world a place to live with peace and prosperity. I would say that Pakistan had nominated President Donald Trump for Nobel Peace Prize for his outstanding, extraordinary contributions to first stop war between India and Pakistan, and then achieve ceasefire along with his very wonderful team. And today, again, I would like to nominate this great president for Nobel Peace Prize, because I genuinely feel that he is the most genuine.
Do you guys think that they'll take the nomination and actually give it to him?
For Peace Prize, because he
I don't
has
think they will.
brought not only peace in South Asia,
He could bring
millions
the
of
entire
people,
world
their
to
lives,
peace, and people could
and today,
turn their
here in
weapons into plowshares,
Sharm
and they'd
el-Sheikh,
still not want to honor him with the Nobel Peace
achieving
Prize.
peace in Gaza.
Yeah,
is
I don't
saving
think this is a 7-year
millions of
agreement
lives
either.
in the Middle East. Mr. President, I would like to salute you for your exemplary leadership.
Yeah,
visionary
Paul,
leadership.
that's my
And I
understanding
think
is that
that
Daniel
you're the
9
man
is
this
actually
world needed most
has already
at
been
this point in
fulfilled.
time. World would always remember
Although
you
I will
as a
say
man
that if
who
Donald Trump and Elon
did
Musk are the two
everything went
witnesses,
out
or
of the
even if
way
we're in that period
to
of
stop
time of the
7
two
and today
witnesses.
8 wars.
No, sorry, I'm talking over him. Oh, he was not anyway. Even if we are in that time of the two witnesses, say I'm wrong about Donald Trump and Elon Musk, and say we're in that period of time, there is definitely a distinct transition after the two witnesses. It seems like it lines up with seal number 6 when God's wrath is unleashed on the earth. So, I mean, there could very well be a peace agreement for 7 years, and then it's stopped halfway through. But I don't know. It's very much a wait and see right now. All right, President, real Donald Trump with a historic agreement. Should I just keep playing
This
these?
is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned, and further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East, and it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East, and we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there, and now we're there.
Yep, this makes what, the 8th country that he's brought peace to or negotiated peace between. What is this, pictures with president? Okay, we're not gonna watch all this. All right, cute. Let's see, what is this? Happy 250th birthday to the United States Navy.
Philadelphia, 1775, 250 years ago. A new nation was born, and with it, a navy. A navy forged in the fight for independence, built from a handful of ships and the determination of a people who refused to be denied their freedom. From John Paul Jones' defiant words, "I have not yet begun to fight," to David Farragut's legendary command, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead," our sailors have met every challenge with courage and resolve. At Midway, they turned the tide of a world war. At Leyte Gulf, they fought the largest naval battle in history. In the waters off Korea, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, and beyond, our Navy has carried America's resolve to every sea. Through those battles that shaped the course of history, the United States Navy has stood watch. We've sailed to the farthest corners of the globe, defended liberty in times of peace and war, and written our story in courage, sacrifice, and victory. Today, the Navy remains the shield of our nation, the foundry where sailors are forged, the fleet that stands ready on every horizon, and the fight, our promise that if challenged, America will win. From wooden sailing ships to nuclear-powered carriers, from signal flags to satellites, from cannon fire to precision weapons. For 2.5 centuries, we've led the way in innovation, transforming the seas into a domain of unmatched power. We are the world's most advanced, most lethal, and most ready maritime force. A global navy that deters aggression, protects trade, strengthens alliances, and brings relief in times of crisis. But at the heart of it all are the sailors, men and women from every walk of life who proudly wear the cloth of our nation. Sailors who stand the watch tonight, just as others have since 1775, ensuring that America's promise endures. 250 years of honor, courage, and commitment. 250 years of foundry, fleet, and fight. And we're just getting started. Happy 250th birthday, United States Navy.
That was a nice tribute. Good for him. God bless the peacemaker. Amen. President, let's just watch this.
And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to thank you very
I'll
much
talk
for
about
that.
that after
It's an
after we're done
incredible
with Trump
plan
here.
for Israel and the world to
Fury.
have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. And it's pretty unusual for you to see that, but it happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together.
Cool. President real Donald Trump. This is only okay.
This is not only the end of a war. This is the end of an age of terror and death, and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God. It's the start of a grand concord and lasting harmony for Israel and all the nations of what will soon be a truly magnificent region. I believe that so strongly. This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
Yeah, I think he's definitely right there. This is the age of faith, hope, and of God. You know, I've been watching this series. I don't know if you've heard about it. I talked about it a little bit. I mentioned that I was going to watch this, called The Religion Business. And it really, man, it really hits home with a lot of things that I've seen, and I'm sure things that many of you have seen. So I actually purchased the series, and I'm watching the series. It kind of goes slow. If you want to watch it, I would recommend watching the Shawn Ryan interview. This is what got me to remember that I was going to watch this. There's an episode, and I'll put this in the description, with Nathan Apfel. It's episode number 233, and it's Inside the Dark World of Megachurches and Corrupt Pastors. And he goes into the details on how it's I would even say mega churches. I would just say churches in general can fall prey to the 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 enticement of money, because churches are a massive capital loophole. And he goes through and he documents how churches take advantage of the tax system, and they're really, many of them are unchecked organizations financially that are multi-trillion dollars. It's like the I think the income per year is like $1 trillion the churches make. So you can imagine that people who want to make money would seek that kind of an entity in order to make money. And what they end up doing is, in order to fulfill their obligations as a church, because church is such a loose definition, legally and probably intentionally, is they teach a standard doctrine. And he doesn't really talk about this so much, but some of the stuff that I've just noticed in my life is one of the reason why you get doctrinal error in the churches is because a lot of these churches, they're just regurgitating teachings that somebody else did. He talks about, I think it was Stanford did a study on how people can become more spiritual, and their findings were if they would just spend more time alone reading the Bible, because most often people don't actually learn anything in church. They go more for the culture and the experience, and that's what people associate with God. So it's interesting that Trump here says this is the beginning age of faith, hope, and of God. And like this stuff that's coming out. So you've got The Chosen, which is spreading the gospel, whether it's accurate or not, spreading the gospel all around the world. Millions upon millions of people are watching that show. You've got this spiritual awakening where people see that we are very likely in the end times. There are things that seem to be fulfilling prophetic things that were prophesied from Jesus. You know, Jesus told us that these things were going to happen, so that when they do happen, we would believe. And we are now in this period of time to where it is definitely the beginning of faith, hope, and of God. And I really think after watching this series, which I'm not all the way through it yet, after listening to Nathan on the Shawn Ryan show and beginning to watch this series, I'm beginning to think, and I've thought this before, I've talked about this a little bit, that the church and not Jesus's church, not those who are following Jesus, but those who are believers that are within the church need to come out of those systems and realize that if they want to have a true relationship with Yeshua, that they're not going to find it in church. They need to go to a church that truly does serve the Lord, and not some organization that's literally just a corporation that's trying to make money off of people. And that's the thing that I think is going to be exposed over these next couple of years. And it might actually be one of the reasons why Donald Trump chose Paula White to be his faith leader, is because she's smack in the middle of all of this. So it may be a bad thing, or it could be a good thing, because even Trump himself was raised up to learn about the system. I was reminded of the comment that he made when he was talking to Hillary Clinton when they were talking about the tax code. And his response was, I know that there's loopholes because I take advantage of them. It may very well be the same thing with Paula White. She may be needed to understand the corruption that's in the religion plays in the United States, or she may be there for another purpose. I don't know, but I think there's no truer statement than we are in the beginning age of faith, hope, and of God. So let's move on. All right, what is this?
Mr. President, Mr. Prime Minister, Mr. Speaker, esteemed members of the Knesset, and cherished citizens of Israel, we gather on a day of profound joy, of soaring hope, of renewed faith, and above all, a day to give our deepest thanks to the Almighty God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. After 2 harrowing years in darkness and captivity, 20 courageous hostages are returning to the glorious embrace of their families, and it is glorious. 28 more precious loved ones are coming home at last to rest in this sacred soil for all of time. And after so many years of unceasing war and endless danger, today the skies are calm, the guns are silent, the sirens are still, and the sun rises on a holy land that is finally at peace, a land and a region that will live, God willing, in peace for all eternity.
Well, it was 12 hours ago. This is the guest book at the Knesset in Jerusalem.
Let's try again.
Yeah, such a nice signature.
Now here, please, to Avi, everyone. And White House photographer, please. Daniel. אוקיי, עכשיו על הספר?
רגע, ראש מותי.
להסתכל על הספר? להסתכל על הספר?
Nothing. Just signing the guest book. What does it say? This is my great honor, something and beautiful. Let's see, a great and beautiful day, a new beginning. His signature is better than his handwriting, but that is still pretty nice handwriting.
And I guess if you
So this is from the weekend. So we're through his post of the day. We're just going to skim through the weekend.
in your own networks, everybody's very excited about this moment in time. So I'll see you on the plane. I think you're traveling with us, but this is a very special event. They had 500,000 people yesterday and today in Israel, and also the Muslim and Arab countries are all cheering. Everybody's cheering at one time. That's never happened before.
Oh.
Usually if you have one cheering, the other isn't.
Yeah.
The other is the opposite. This is the first time everybody is amazed and they're thrilled, and it's an honor to be involved. And we're going to have an amazing time, and it's going to be something that's never happened before. So I'll see you on the plane, and we're going to have a good time. Okay?
Cool. All right, give Donald Trump the Nobel Peace Prize. He seems to be pushing that. Total 31.9 billion. Oh, look at this. I saw this. So we give them billions, Fannie Mae. So 8.8 billion go to Lennar Homes, and it's 520,000 empty slots. What is this? Is this more corruption? 520,000 empty lots. There's so many things that the government is giving money to, and combine that with the churches, which don't even have any legal obligations when it comes to taxes, is there is so much corruption in the system. It's amazing that the bloody thing works at all. Dr. Horton Homes, 400. They give them 7.3 billion, and they have 455,000 empty lots. And why is homelessness a problem? Pult Homes, 148,000. Man, I hope he's looking into this stuff. All right, Lord Conrad Black, because President Trump did it, there has been little recognition that it is the greatest diplomatic achievement in the Middle East since the found. Right, exactly. He's brought peace to between 8 different countries, and they're still not going. There's many who won't recognize him. It's interesting. I was listening to when I was listening to different churches, some of the interviews in the religion business video, some of this stuff, some of the same behaviors that we see from the Antifa members that are protesting in like Portland and Chicago, I saw some of the similar behaviors of people in the church. It would not surprise me. So since people aren't being spiritually fed in a lot of these churches, it wouldn't surprise me if they're not being indoctrinated. you know I think there's definitely people who recognize that Donald Trump is a spiritual leader, right? He gives credit to God, and I believe he's working on God's behalf. But there is a spiritual hatred. He torments people. This is why we call this the daily torment report, because he torments people, and I think that it's at a spiritual level. Has to be at a spiritual level. All right, what is this? Throughout most of our history, America's colleges and universities have been a great strategic asset of the United States. Tragically, however, much of higher education has lost its way and is now corrupting our youth and society with woke, socialist, and anti American ideology that serves as justification for discriminatory practices by universities that are unconstitutional and unlawful. My administration is fixing this, and fast. With our great reform agenda in higher education, our nation's great institution. Can you imagine? So he's going after the education system. If he went after churches for corruption, that would I think there would be a revolt, because unless you understand that the corruption that's in the church right now, I think those who are spiritual would be okay with it. But the average person, if they saw him, if he were to actually go after the church and root out, like if they tried to do a Doge, like if Elon Musk, maybe we should try and get Elon Musk's attention on this thing. He would be a good one. The Musk derangement syndrome has kind of mellowed out. He would be a good one to get back involved in the Doge stuff. Maybe get him reposting some of this religion business. But even just the Shawn Ryan show would be a good start to plant the seeds that people that are caught in these religious organizations that aren't doing anything for God. They remind me of Sardis, in that they have a name that they live, but they don't do anything for Yeshua. And yet there's still some people who have not soiled their clothes within Sardis. So there's definitely good people in all of these places. I'm not saying that. But the organizations there's just a lot of corruptions. And that was my experience. My experience in the church that became a cult was the people were fantastic. It's the leadership and those who are profiting and using it for their own power and their own gain. The word church means ecclesia. It just means a group of people gathered together for a purpose. It doesn't require a building. And yet a lot of these organizations would have you think that it does require a building, and buildings require funds in order to operate. which isn't the case. Jesus, he sent his disciples out 2 by 2 into the homes. There's your fellowship right there. There's your church. That's probably what we need to get to, is come out of these giant organizations, which are just social cultures. They're not really doing anything for Yeshua in most cases. Now, I'm not talking about the small churches that, put a majority of their resources towards, loving God and loving their neighbor as themselves. Speaking specifically about the ones that are really in it for the money. All right. Let's see. Don't worry about China. It will be all fine. Highly respected President Xi just had a bad moment. He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it. See, that's a good president. Somebody who recognizes people make mistakes. Whether he feels that way or not, it's the way he presents it. And I think that's the sign of a really good leader, is even when people make stupid mistakes, you're willing to forgive them. The Ukraine impeachment of me scam was a bigger illegal hoax than Watergate. I sincerely hope the necessary authorities, including Congress, are looking into this. Adam Shifty Schiff was too dishonest and corrupt. So many laws and protocols were violated and just plain broken. President DJT. The Biden FBI placed 274 agents into the crowd on January 6th. If this is so, which it is, a lot of very good people will be owed big apologies. What a scam. Do something. President DJT. I am pleased to announce that the great Dan Scavino, in addition to remaining deputy chief of staff of the Trump administration, will head the White House Presidential Personnel Office, replacing Sergio Gore, who did a wonderful job in that position and will now become the ambassador to India. Dan will be responsible for the selection and appointment of almost all positions in government, a very big and important position. Yeah, I can imagine, especially what you went through with the first time in office. Kind of want to get that right. You don't want to be surrounded by lunatics and haters. Yeah, all right. Great job, super lawyer Bill Brennan on fake news CNN. He took the third-rate anchor apart when discussing the legal merit of various cases. They probably won't have him back again. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Let's see, under Sleepy Joe, he ate ice cream, $100 billion. During Donald Trump, $100 trillion. Don't worry, we will survive. Trump is now president. I don't get that. I can't tell if he's helping or attacking Freddie Mae and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Let's go look at some of these comments here. Oh boy, you guys have been busy. All right, let's see. They attacked ICE in Chicago neighborhoods and bragged about chasing them while blocking out their paths. Yeah, so there's been a lot of chaos this weekend. Chicago, they were surrounding ICE officers and following them home and attacking them. Same thing in Portland. Portland, it's funny because on Friday, it wasn't Friday, it was Thursday. Just the last couple of days since Kristi Noem had been in Portland, things seem to be mellowing out because they got rid of the camps, got rid of their storage containers, and the people had been kind of dispersed. But man, Friday and Saturday, they started gathering again there. We actually went down to Portland and drove by there, and we could already see them gathering up. I might actually, if I can talk my wife into allowing me to do it, I might actually go down there and start doing some kind of on the scene reporting to do some of my own live feeds, just because it's really interesting to see what's going on. And I don't know if there's enough representation of people who are good examples of what it is to be like Christ. There's a lot of like patriotic agitators down there, which are just stirring up trouble. But I think there needs to be some more, spiritually mature people down there to, talk. I don't know. My wife thinks it's a terrible idea, but I really want to go down there. We drove by it though, so that was interesting. We were we had come down to Oregon to visit some family during the weekend, so we drove by there to see how things were going. And the crowds were picking up again. And then Saturday, you had the naked bike ride, And Fury, like you had mentioned, they did that dye thing where they filled the streets with naked people and they were laying in the streets. So they shut down the street for a period of time. It was crazy. Did you know that the Hells Angels is registered as a church? Yeah, and that's one thing that he was saying is there's no definition, there's no like legal definition of a church. You just have to meet 14 different requirements, which are based on the Salvation Army and not really geared towards churches at scale. So there's annulments and there's a lot of legal loopholes that enable these churches, and they're attractive to people who love money to take advantage of these systems to enrich themselves. And the requirements are so minimal that this is why you end up with corrupt, useless, dead churches that don't do anything for Yeshua, that don't do anything for God. Just because people are using them as a corporation. They're basically tax shelters to where they can enrich themselves, they can make money for doing very little, and it just makes it feeds religious narcissists, and it feeds really the adversary, really feeds Satan. It wouldn't surprise me if this isn't what Jesus was referring to when he talked about the synagogue of Satan. 8 billion people on earth, 8 billion different perceptions of God. God's truth needs to be alive in your heart, and it will show and how you treat others. It will show in how you treat others. God will know his people by their actions towards others. Indeed. And I honestly think that we're going through trials and tests right now, because the things that are happening in the world right now is dividing people. And I would argue to say that it's dividing the sheep from the goats, because the people who are on the left are increasingly stubborn. For the first time in 3 years, I actually had to mute somebody on my Facebook because they would not knock it off with the Trump hate and the Charlie Kirk hate. They were just going crazy. And I don't understand how somebody can be so evil towards somebody who was assassinated. Blows my mind. All right. If any wonder, look up what the homes of the 3 generations of the Swaggart family live in: Baton Rouge, Duplantis, New Orleans, or Copeland, Dallas, or Olstein, Houston. Yeah. Highly recommend. If just start with the Shawn Ryan show, and again, it's episode 233, and I'll post the link after the show in the description. It's very eye-opening, and I really think that, so there's a scripture, and I think it's in Zechariah 2. Let me go look it up, where it talks about coming out of Babylon. Yep, here it is. Zechariah 2, verse 6. Up, up, flee from the land of the north, says the Lord, for I have spread you abroad like the 4 winds of heaven, says the Lord. Up, up, escape, you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon. Babylon means confusion. And if you're in a church that the leaders and those in charge, their purpose is to basically raise money and not spiritually feed people, that's just going to be a situation for Satan to spread his lies and deceit. Because they all just repeat the same, approved doctrine, which isn't even biblical in a lot of cases. And you get gaslit anytime you tried to correct somebody. It's the issue I ran into when I was in the cult, is anytime you would ask questions, why does it say this? What about this? I see your perspective. However, that doesn't make any sense. And it's just because people get so used to what is the established doctrine, that anybody who would question it is just looked at as crazy, because they are confused. So you who dwell with the daughter of Babylon, for thus says the Lord of hosts, he sent me after glory to the nations which plunder you. For he who touches you touches the apple of his eye. For surely I will shake my hand against them, and they shall become spoil for their servants. Then you will know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me. Sing and rejoice, O daughter of Zion, for behold, I am coming, and I will dwell in your midst, says the Lord. Many nations will be joined to the Lord in that day, and they shall become my people, and I will dwell in your midst. then you will know that the Lord of hosts has sent me to you, and the Lord will take possession of Judah as his inheritance in the Holy Land, and he will again choose Jerusalem. Be silent, all flesh, before the Lord, for he is aroused from his holy habitation. Yeah, so that's what I think of when I was watching this series. Is it's very much, it seems like it's those who love him and have been called and whose names are written in the book of life are spread everywhere. Yeah. Let's see. If any wonder, look up what. Okay, we already read that. 266 days is the time it takes from conception to birth. The belly of the beast, capital in DC, was started this thing when he was inaugurated. Today is day 266. Yep, since he became president. Indeed. Let's see. If any wonder, look up. Okay. She may be a plant for Trump. What better way to get to the heart of what goes on in them? Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing is we have to be really careful with how we judge people, because God may bring you through the depths of hell in order to teach you how to fight hell. I see that with Donald Trump. He was just the things that he's done in his life. He's been the richest man in the world multiple times over. He's filed bankruptcy, and through it all, he had a heart for God and a heart for people. So, there may be things that people think that he, maybe God had him fly on the Epstein plane in order to show him what was going on, so that when he was in a position of power, he could do something about it. So we have to be really careful about how we judge people, because you don't know what's in the heart of a man. That's for God to know. Until we do know, it's just for us to love God and love our neighbors as ourselves. Let's see if I sometimes get words that run together. Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Let's see. Is there anything else here from DJT that we want to cover? Chuck Schumer recently said every day gets better during their radical left shutdown. I disagree. If nothing is done because of leader Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, our brave troops will miss the paychecks they are rightfully due on October 15th. That is why I'm using my authority as Commander-in-Chief to direct Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to use all available funds to get our troops paid. Interesting. On October 15th, we will have identified funds to do this, and Secretary Hegseth will use them to pay our troops. I will not allow the Democrats to hold our military and the entire security of our nation hostage with their dangerous government shutdown. The radical left Democrats should open the government, and then we can work together to address healthcare and many other things that they want to destroy. Wow. Good for him. Taking care of the people.
The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed was a new president.
Oh. Wow. Such a troll. This is why he torments the world. Can you believe it? I don't know what this is. Harrison Design. Is this the statue that people were referring to? I don't know what this is. Somebody knows what this is. Let me know. All right, day 2. So this was what, Saturday?
It's Nobel Peace Prize Day, and we have a winner.
The Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 goes to a brave and committed champion of peace.
Champion of peace? So the guy who just ended 8 wars, right?
The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025 to Maria Corina Machado.
Come again? Maria doesn't sound like Donald. Even Maria was like, I don't want it.
Oh, wow.
The person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. A very nice thing to do.
Yeah.
I didn't say then give it to me, though.
Maria's fighting for democracy in Venezuela. Well, you go, girl. So is Trump. That's why we're blowing up Coke boats and just slapped a $50 million bounty on Maduro's head. Trump just brought peace to the Middle East, so it's obvious the Nobel Committee has the Norwegian strain of TDS. Reporters asked the chair of the Nobel, why the snub?
This committee sits in a room filled with the portraits of all laureates, and that room is filled with both courage and integrity.
It's not called the Nobel Courage Prize, and if it was, Trump's got it. He got shot in the head, popped up, and said, fight, fight, fight. In 2 terms, Trump hasn't started a single war, and has ended 8. And integrity? They gave the Nobel to Yasser Arafat, a terrorist. Al Gore got the Nobel for global warming. It doesn't take courage to recycle.
It's a sham.
Obama's Nobel was a DEI prize. Even he knew he didn't earn it.
I understand why war is not popular, but I also know this. The belief that peace is desirable is rarely enough to achieve it. Peace requires responsibility. Peace entails sacrifice.
Barry bombed Libya, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen, and Pakistan. As a matter of fact, who didn't Barry bomb? And are any of those countries at peace after bombs away Barry?
Nope.
Even Morning Joe said Barack got a DEI prize.
They also gave it to Barack Obama before he had actually done anything.
All right, still ahead on Morning Joe. We're going to get
Not
Steve
that Donald
over.
Trump noticed
Now
that.
stop.
Trump noticed the Nobels rigged like an election. Barack was nominated just 11 days after he was sworn.
All right, I don't have time to watch that entire thing. All right, let's move on to Elon. I think we covered enough of Trump. Let's move on to Elon. We're running short on time here. I kind of want to get to see what's going on in Portland today. All right, Elon Musk. Let's see. The XAI macro hard project will be profoundly impactful at an immense scale. Let's see. Our goal is to create a company that can do anything short of manufacturing physical objects directly, but will be able to do so indirectly, much like Apple has other companies manufacture their phones. Elon Musk is literally painting macro hard on the roof of the Colossus 2 supercomputer cluster in Memphis. Here's what it looks like. You guys know that's a dig on Microsoft, right? Because instead of micro, it's macro. Instead of soft, it's hard. Macro hard. Oh my God, I love it. He has to be one of the 2 witnesses. I mean, like, they're both trolls. Who'd have thought? And given the thing that's been going on with the churches and the discovery, not that it's new to most of us, but with it coming out with the religion business, it's no wonder that God wouldn't choose like Joel Osteen. You know what I mean? Like clearly obvious frauds. And yet he's brought up these 2 men who are arguably the 2 most powerful men in the world, who don't really care about money because both of them lose it like crazy, but they also make it like crazy, hand over fist. They're both trolls. I love it. It's so great. All right.
We're live. What's up, guys? How's it going? Good to see you, boss.
Hi. Oh, yeah, Starship launched today.
How's the webcam? Good. We're live right now. What the? Yeah. Getting ready for Flight 11. How are you feeling for it?
Good. This is the first time that I'm going to be actually outside standing and watching the rocket. Normally I'm in mission control and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But now I'll be standing out in the garden there.
Okay.
So
awesome.
It's really going to be much more visceral.
Yeah. You're going to feel
Great
it.
place
It's
to
going to
watch.
be. It's going to be. It's going to be awesome. We'll be in here this time, but usually we're out there watching. Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
Good luck.
Later.
And have fun.
Have fun.
All right, that's the big news. Let's see.
Is that video?
Let's see if we can catch.
All this.
Director Ty Hunter.
I didn't get a chance to actually watch this.
Director Ty Huntington back in the seat. Take us through the final. So in about...
That's cool. This is Flight 11. Yep, Flight 11 is about to take off.
That's cute. So at this point, we've passed through that period of maximum aerodynamic pressure. The next thing we're looking forward to is going to be hot staging. So we've got 33 out of 33 Raptors lit. Super Heavy makes its way uphill. Hot staging is going to be coming up in just a little over a minute. At that point, we're going to see all but 3 of those Raptor engines on Super Heavy shut down. Our version of Miko.
Minutes.
To compare that to the airplane that earlier was looking at what we call the business end of Starship with all the Raptor endo, and we've got...
Looks like it was successful. Cool. Well, that is a key technology right there if we're going to explore the universe. Logo complete. Try the Eve voice on Grok. It is so beautiful. Okay. What is this? Is this the launch? All right. All right. So this is a repost. A letter to Jess Phillips from Rape Gang Inquiry Chair Rupert Lowe. What progress has actually been made? Let's see. Dear Minister, with respect in your response, you have laid out what you intended to do, not what you have done. The national inquiry was announced on the 14th of June. It is now October. What has actually been achieved in that time? I and the British people would therefore appreciate a direct update, not on plans or aspirations, but on specific actions taken since the inquiry announcement. As I have stated from the beginning, our independent rape gang inquiry stands ready to assist however we can. I look forward to a concrete reply setting out what has happened, who is responsible, and when the inquiry will actually begin. You know, as they expose these things and as these things come to the surface, it really highlights how bad things are in the world today. You know, people who say that we can't be in the end times because things aren't bad enough. Are you sure about that? Just because you might not be going through hard tribulation doesn't mean it's not happening. And I think this stuff being highlighted kind of proves that point. X is going to be the biggest social media platform on planet Earth and soon Mars. Let's see, Tesla Model 3. Let's see, tried new, vastly improved Grok Imagine. Yeah, I haven't messed with it much lately. I heard it was really good. I would agree with this, although version 14, so this is talking about self-driving. FSD 14.1.1's perception system is starting to wildly outperform mine. It's wild to see. I wish I had it. They haven't pushed it out to my Tesla yet. I would agree with this, although 14 has a few issues. It is still incredible to watch it solve problems in real time and react to road hazards faster than version 13 ever could. Yeah, so they increased the resolution, which is one of the reasons why it's 2 to 10 times potentially 2 to 10 times safer than a human. Is it's able, so up until now, the rate at which it could process the video was comparable to like a human, maybe a little bit better, but now they've increased it between 2 and 10 times to where it's able to actually receive the information and analyze it faster than anybody ever could, meaning it can recognize and make decisions incredibly fast. See, this morning on my drive, the car started slowing down nicely and signaling while I was driving on the highway. At first, I was confused why it was doing that, but then I saw a woman in all black walking her dog on the side of the road. The car 100% saw and reacted to her before I did. I have noticed that even in version 13. That is really cool. Drive Bangkok to the future. All right, completed a 40-minute drive today using Tesla Full Self-Driving 14.1.1, which included highways, more urban driving, and multiple destinations. Didn't experience any major issues or interventions. Impressive. Ending at the supercharger. I also show what the new sloth mode is like on the highways, full driving with commentary below, 2 times speed and 4K video. Oh, we're not going to watch this, but get an idea of what it's like. If you haven't test driven a Tesla in a full self-driving, man, if you have the possibility to, you should. It's really something.
Gonna pull into this parking area.
The Model 3, the S, the 3, and the X, I believe, have what's called Actually Smart Summon. They have a feature called Actually Smart Summon where you can like call the car to come pick you up. Like it wouldn't surprise me if you can't send it to go park and call it to come pick you up. But I know right now you can call it to come pick you up. Fortunately, my car doesn't have that yet. Because we drive a Cybertruck and they haven't pushed that functionality out to the Cybertruck just because it's so much bigger than the other Teslas that they haven't finished validating it, unfortunately. Super unhappy about that. But yeah, full self-driving is freaking cool. Excited to get 14. Soon, Grok Imagine will have longer sequences with multiple scenes and camera angles automatically integrated. That would be so cool because I have so many things that I want to illustrate. Like I'm working on 3 teachings right now simultaneously. One on redoing the timeline video, one on doing the Antichrist video, and another one on doing the 2 witnesses. And I would love to be able to generate like visually what I see in my head. If I could find a way to generate the images to illustrate it, it would really drive the points home. I'm super excited for this as a tool. Yeah. To be able to just generate like to do an explainer video that's like a real legit video, that'd be cool. Just wrapped an incredibly productive week at the XAI's London office. The energy here is unreal. Yep. Another super heavy ready flight coming in. Jeez, the future is amazing, guys. Fleet Week does not disappoint. Obviously AI generated. Grok Imagine tips and tricks. Use the custom prompt to get a cool 360 camera shot. Ideal. Let's see, camera 360 degrees. Okay, cool. Super Grok Heavy is the best. $300 I've ever spent. Cool. Wow. I don't know. Even with all of the AI that I use throughout the day, I don't know. I'd have to try it. I wish they had like at least a 1-day trial to see if it's really worth it. The last time we'll ever get this view. Golden hour at Starbase. Tomorrow this flies to space. All right, breaking. Grok Imagine latest update launches dedicated text to video option for images. I'm going to have to play with this tonight. Grok Imagine now does the fastest text to video on the internet. See, once you start using Grok, everything else gets so much easier. Full self-driving. Yeah. All right, let's see what we missed through the weekend. Did he post anything on the weekend? October 12th. That was yesterday. Starbase is entirely accessible to the public, and the only place in the world you can get this close to a rocket so close to launch. Real world AI. If someone is going to back into you, full self-driving is smart enough to back away. Really? Well, that's cool. Huh. Huh. Nerds are so awesome.
Watched Musk very up close for a couple of years. I'm going to say something that you might think is naive, but I really believe it, which is he has certain missions he's had his whole life. He read Isaac Asimov. He read the Robot series. He thought the robots might turn on us. I have to come in and save us from hostile AI. I have to make us multiplanetary. Having watched Musk very up close for a couple of years, I'm going to say something that you might think is naive, but I really believe it, which is he has certain missions he's had his whole life. He read Isaac Asimov. He read the Robot series. He thought the robots might turn on us. I have to come in and save us from hostile AI. I have to make us multiplanetary.
That's so interesting that, this has been something that he's, talked about his entire childhood, his entire life. about AI. I mean, there's certain things that I've thought similar things. When I was a kid, I dreamed about drones and what were some of the other things that I used to dream? The different types of technology. I never really was afraid of AI, so it's interesting that he was thinking about this so young. Surely God was planting these seeds so that he would go in a particular direction. I mean, God wouldn't make this stuff available if he didn't want us to be able to take advantage of technology, right? I mean, like the universe is designed the way that it is for a reason. I believe that it's to keep us busy, gives us something to do for eternity, keep making stuff, have new challenges to overcome. Let's see, what is this?
Well, you came in at Tesla in the beginning, but they were already doing something, right?
No, Tesla did not exist in any meaningful form. There were no employees. J.B. Straubel and I joined 3 other people. There was no car. There was no nothing.
So it wasn't even a prototype yet?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a prototype already.
No. There weren't even any employees.
Oh. That's a funny narrative that people like to say, that you didn't even create Tesla then.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Well, you came in at Tesla in the beginning, but they were already doing something, right?
Yeah, that was my understanding. Is J.B. Strobel, let's see, what does this say? The narrative saying, so this is Elon Musk. The narrative saying I didn't create Tesla is wrong. We just listened to this. Yeah, that was in February 2025. Yeah, that was my understanding. I mean, like, I knew J.B. Strobel had been initially like working on it, but then nothing really significant happened until Elon got involved. Same thing happened with OpenAI too. Is Sam Altman needed OpenAI, ChatGPT would not be what it was today if it weren't for Elon Musk. Go figure. It's interesting. That kind of goes hand in hand with what I was talking about with churches and the unrestrained power that they have, because OpenAI started as a nonprofit. It was not intended to make money, but there were certain things that Elon really didn't understand that allowed Sam Altman to do what he did and really go against all the wishes of Elon, even though the company would never exist without Elon's investment and involvement in the very beginning. Yeah. Satan is real, and he can make things pretty bad pretty quick. Let's see. Anything else in here? When the city of dreams turned into the city of dealers. Forget cable cars and sourdough. San Francisco's got a new rep, America's biggest open-air drug bazaar. Oh, did they legalize all drugs also? Portland legalized all drugs. Streets that once buzzed with tech bros now buzz with overdoses, crime scenes, and chaos. Cops are outnumbered. Drug dealers clock in like it's 9 to 5. And overdose deaths keep climbing. Meanwhile, city leaders say everything's under control. I've seen that too. It's so funny. Me and my wife have this conversation about like Portland, because we went down there, to where the governor is pulling, and even people she knows on Facebook are pulling the same kind of crap, to where Portland is 150 square miles big. So they'll go pick a place where there's nothing really going on, and they'll go, see guys, everything's fine. But if you go to the area where the problem actually is, which it's more than a block, it's several blocks, if not more. There's clear, and we'll actually switch over to some of the we'll go look at Honey Badger's feed here in a minute. You'll see it is not fine. So let's look at this. Yeah, I mean, like this kind of stuff. That looks like somebody just knocked over the garbage. But yeah, so this is very much reminiscent of Portland too. I mean, they've kind of cleaned up the streets in some areas like this, probably because everybody's down at the ice building. All right. Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law on Friday, launching a process for California to administer reparations for descendants of slaves. A state that never had slavery is taking money away from people who never owned slaves and is giving it to people who never were slaves. That's insanity. Oh, my Lord. It's simple. If you want to keep federal troops out of San Francisco, remove the organized drug dealers and 80% of the problem goes away. If you don't, you reap what you sow. Agreed.
And calling for federal intervention in San Francisco for the National Guard to come in. And all the politicians in San Francisco are losing their goddamn minds. And I think it's hilarious because for the last decade, the city has been overrun with 500 to 1,000 organized drug dealers operating in plain sight, selling fentanyl that's killed 4,300 people in the city since 2020. And our court system continues to release them over and over and over and over again. And half of our elected leadership thinks that they're victims of human trafficking and not just actually opportunists that are here to make money, to build their mansions back in Honduras. And if you doubt me, that was all well documented a couple of years ago in a whole expose done in the San Francisco Chronicle. So while I get it, we don't want to have troops on the ground in San Francisco. Nobody wants that. At the same time, don't act surprised that he's saying that, and that a recent poll that was done earlier this year suggested that 83% of San Franciscans want federal intervention to stop the organized drug dealers. So everybody needs to stop clutching their pearls, calm down, and get to work removing the open drug scenes and the open drug markets in the city. That's how we keep Trump and the federal government and the troops out of San Francisco.
That's exactly
Anything
right.
less than that, you reap what you sow. That's the way it is. From Tom Wolfe, the voice of recovery in San Francisco. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's not like the Democrats are trying to frame Donald Trump and his actions as though he's sending in the military. Here's the thing. The National Guard is the military of the state. The state, if they wanted to, could mobilize the National Guard in order to help with these problems. They don't. It's a sign that they want the problems. The fact that they won't mobilize the police or the National Guard on their own is indicative of acceptance and compliance. They want whatever's happening. They get what they sow. They reap what they sow. All Donald Trump is doing is saying, look, this is a problem. People are reaching out. People are complaining. People are suffering. If you can't do your job, I'll do it for you. And that's why he's saying he'll mobilize the National Guard. He's not saying that he's going to send in the Marines or the Army, but that's what the Democrats are framing it as. They're framing it as a military incursion into their state. It is not, except for when they sue Donald Trump and stop him from mobilizing their own National Guard. Then he, being Donald Trump, being who he is, finds solutions regardless of people like them or not, and is looking to send in other National Guards. So I get that it's like, you can't beat him. He's in a position that's too powerful right now. They were able to manipulate and stop him his first term. He learned from those mistakes, and there's just no way you're going to stop him. And so much of what is said about the end times is happening right now. If you kill with the sword, you'll be killed with the sword. So yeah. All right, Sam Altman. Oh, okay, 7 minutes. I don't know if I want to watch all this, but we'll listen.
And then he wound up murdered. What was that?
Also a great tragedy. He committed suicide.
Do you think he committed suicide?
I really do.
Have you looked?
This was like a friend of mine. This is like a guy that, and not a close friend, but this is someone that worked at OpenAI for a very long time. I was really shaken
I think Sam
by
Altman's
this
evil.
tragedy. I spent a lot of time trying to read everything I could, as I'm sure you and others did too, about what happened. It looks like a suicide to me.
Why does it look like a suicide?
Of course,
it was a gun he had purchased. It was this is like gruesome to talk about, but I read the whole medical record. Does it not look like one to you?
No, he was definitely murdered, I think. There were signs of a struggle, of course. The surveillance camera, the wires had been cut. He had just ordered takeout food, come back from a vacation with his friends on Catalina Island. No indication at all that he was suicidal. No note and no behavior. He had just spoken to a family member on the phone. And then he's found dead with blood in multiple rooms. So that's impossible. It's really obvious he was murdered. Have you talked to the authorities about it?
I have not talked to the authorities about it.
And yet you can
and his mother claims he was murdered.
So certainly that it was suicide.
Do you believe that?
You're a liar,
I'm asking.
I mean, you just said it. So do you?
I mean, I don't agree with 100% of what Tucker does, but well done, Tucker. I mean, it is very clear that even just from those, if assuming that what Tucker said is true, just from those statements, it does not seem like a suicide. It's like that Russian trope about the pedophile who stabbed himself, in the back 15 times and shot himself in the back of the head. It's just like, yeah, you can call it a suicide. It doesn't make it true. I think it doesn't make it true. I think it's funny that Elon is reposting this. Sam Altman is not a good guy. Just if in his business practice, he has demonstrated that he is not a trustworthy individual. Doesn't matter how sincere he is. Doesn't matter that Donald Trump gave him a bunch of money to build the AI stuff. I know that's one of the things that drives Elon nuts is Trump is not listening to Elon in regards to Sam Altman. Don't know why. Maybe it's one of the things that leads to the death of the two witnesses. I don't know, but I don't like Sam Altman. All right. A lot of people still don't believe that mass illegal immigration was actively promoted by the Biden administration, even though it was utterly obvious. Right.
Our country now, we have the border totally stopped.
We're here in Texas to see what those changes look like on the ground.
We've got the most controlled border we've ever had in the history, and in my lifetime in the Border Patrol, and we're going to continue getting there.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, during the Biden administration, more than 2,000 migrants crossed into the U.S. in a single day. But now, under President Trump's policies, officers encounter just 20 migrants a day here. So the last time I was in Eagle Pass was 2 years ago, almost to the date. And I saw more migrants crossing at a single point in one day than I had in, at that point, 9 years of covering immigration. They were cutting through this barbed wire here and coming across the Rio Grande, sometimes with parents holding their children on their backs as they crossed the water. We saw a lot of rescues. We saw people bleeding as they came under this barbed wire right here. And then we saw hundreds gather under a bridge. They were taken in, processed, and then released either to ICE or elsewhere to pursue their asylum claims. Now it's a total change.
People aren't taking that risk to come across because the end of catch and release is a deterrent in itself. And then with the level of prosecutions we're doing for smugglers and for those entering the country illegally, you add that added deterrence.
We've been out here half the day now, haven't seen a soul. We patrolled the river, haven't seen anyone there either. What we're seeing and what we're hearing from the Border Patrol chief and the agents on the ground here is that anyone who crosses now is arrested, prosecuted, and turned back over into Mexico. You simply cannot cross through here anymore and claim asylum, no matter what your claim is.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, clearly, anybody who thinks that immigration wasn't a problem under Biden is ridiculous. All right. California, let's see, where are we at? Okay, we're on October 11th. All righty. I think that's probably good for Elon Musk. So some things in there worth paying attention to. Exposing corruption, but also doing pretty great things with technology. Now let's go look at the chat here real quick. Oh boy. What are you guys talking about? Not every time the Lord has spoken in the Bible are they referring to Jesus. It's let's see, I don't know what Bible. What are you guys talking about? Tell me what scripture it says Jesus Christ and swords in the same sentence. Think you are, let's see. Okay. I don't know. If you guys have a question for me in there, I'll answer it. But it looks like you guys might just have a spiritual conversation about what's going on in the scripture. It seems like it goes back kind of far. So if you guys want to bring me up to speed on the context, I'll happily join. But in the meantime, I'm going to switch over here to Honey Badger to see if she's broadcasting and to go through her stream to kind of get an update on some of the stuff that has happened. So Honey Badger is one of the journalists that goes down to Portland and films the chaos. She's been going down there for over 100 days. Her and T Sply and Katie and a couple of other journalists have been going down there in order to bring attention to the Antifa chaos, in order to just help the people who live in that area. And it's turned into a pretty big deal, as you've seen. So I like to go through her feed to see what she posts. A lot of times this is where you'll find her live feed. What was this? Reposting my latest encounter with the Northern Lights. This was the Center Ridge Schoolhouse in Dufur, Oregon. This video ended up going mainstream on MSN. Thank you for all who have purchased the print. Oh, that is cool. I love seeing the Aurora Borealis. Oh, yeah, he passed away recently, didn't he? That's why she's reposting this, because he passed away. Let's see. Take a look at this. Oregon will spend more in its current budget period on free health care for immigrants, regardless of legal status, than on state police. That was one of the things that the chief of police had said when he was interviewed by Kristi Noem. No, it was his public statement after talking with Kristi Noem. Is he made the excuse that one of the reasons why they don't really send a lot of police down to the ICE building is because they lack police. Well, when you give your money to illegal immigrants and you refuse to send down other resources like the National Guard, it's no wonder. It's just these guys are they're I mean, they're just not that intelligent. It's no wonder why Trump says they have low IQ. It's like if you're going to waste your money on illegal immigrants and not take care of your people in your state, they need to vote these idiots out of office. They have Trump derangement syndrome so bad that they see an olive branch for help as some kind of threat of invasion. It's ridiculous. All he did was offer the National Guard in their own state to come down and assist police, which the chief of police said they needed help. I mean, it's like put two and two together. Yay. All right. Weird. I haven't received a call. See, the new FBI has launched a full investigation into Antifa and spent the weekend calling journalists. Yeah, they've been kind of snuffing Honey Badger Mom, which is weird because she's really been involved for so long. Probably because she's not officially linked to a journalistic organization. She's an independent. That's probably why. The FBI has launched a full investigation into Antifa and spent the weekend calling journalists who have been victims of Antifa violence. This is Nick's order. I received a call from the FBI Sunday morning and confirmed others did as well. The Trump admin will take down the terrorist network. Honey Badgers is weird. I haven't received a call. They just left caltrops in my driveway and I've been assaulted by them 3 times. Should I be expecting a call? Do you guys know what caltrops are? She shows them here later on down here. Where are they? Man, she's posted a bunch since the caltrops. This is a caltrop.
Designed to pop people's tires. And this is one of the typical tactics that Antifa uses to sabotage people's vehicles when they get pissed off at them. This is from an Antifa account where they're literally showing other people, their comrades, exactly how to make these so that they can use them against their enemies. This one is particularly...
They look like jacks. You know that game Jacks, but they're bigger. And you put them on the road. And it's not just by an Antifa, it's just terrorists in general. And even military to a degree use these as a means to pop tires. It's just sharp metal that's folded in such a way, looks like a jack, that when you drive over them, it pierces the tire and causes them to pop. All right, I want to go back up here because I want to watch some of her videos. It doesn't look like she's live right now. Let me go see if anybody is live to see if there's anything going on in Portland. Well, there's a couple. Of course, Tommy and Portland Andy. There's a couple that are live streaming. Maybe we'll go look. I don't know. I've been kind of trying to get away from following the stuff in Portland because I think it's not really the purpose of this channel to kind of follow that stuff. The goal of the Two Witnesses Live is to echo what the Two Witnesses are doing, and basically catalog and document it and talk about it. Which I guess you could argue that Donald Trump is investigating and involved in these things. So there's, reason to follow it, but I just don't want it to be a central point of what we do. All right, moving on. Let's see. What is this? A lot of personal stuff. So this is the. I think this happened this weekend.
Wow.
See what I mean? How it's like it's just re-escalated. Like a lot of people have been showing up again down there.
And they're all saying, "Oh, she made it up," but she did not. I saw it. They're unhinged. She got a concussion and it burst the blood vessel right here.
Yikes. Yeah, let's see. Not only did local patriots bring in a Charlie Kirk banner, they brought in anti-Antifa banner. The manic energy the far left had earlier in the day quickly dissipated. Wow. Yeah. An arrest earlier at the ICE massive crowd today. Yeah. Look at that. It's huge.
Yeah, they got two at least.
Those guys are like ready.
They definitely feel that they have a strength in numbers. This is a very out of control situation for the city. Like the city cannot seem to handle it or doesn't want to handle it. And it's too much for just these guys in the building. They're ready to. We got the guys up there too. Like this is really out of control. They got somebody arrested. No, not right. They're doing targeted arrests. Sorry. No, you're not gonna do that.
Wow. All right. So just wanted to show you that the things are kind of getting crazy again there. What's this one?
You're an adult. You're an adult. She's 19. She's 19.
Yikes.
So they're discussing, sorry, my live went. They're discussing, I think he said Soros is paying these guys. And I keep saying, these people fund each other. They use mutual aid to buy their things that they need for this. They have jobs. Nobody's paying them to be here.
Oh.
People on the right have a very hard time believing that. Which one? Yeah.
Right here, that's the guy who's wrong and butt naked.
Yeah, he's the one that made that button for me.
So then if you can't afford lawyers.
Interesting. I also want to show you the bike ride. If we can do it in a family-friendly way.
Of people with angry. Let's look at that. I don't know if I can.
Oh, look at that. This must have been before it. Here's the.
So I don't know if they arrested people.
Yeah, they got two at least.
Those guys are like ready.
I think we already saw that one. I think she already posted that one. Chaotic footage. I wanted to show you the. Oh, yeah, it was this day. It was when it was pouring down rain. Yep, there you go. That's the naked bike ride where they came driving through Portland. That was crazy. I'm not going to show it because it'll tag my YouTube channel, but here's a video if you guys wanted to see that parade. Where's the one where they were laying in the street? Oh, here's the. She reposted James Woods' deepest condolences. Trisha, he was a gift to all. So this is Jeff Bryant. He's the one who had posted that video of the Aurora Borealis. All right. Let me see if I can find the a picture of that die in the street thing. Here it is. There you go. This was that die in the street where they blocked like a pretty long stretch of the road. It's called the Nude Die-In to protest ICE. There's a lot of people. I'm curious on how many of them were actually there to protest ICE and how many just wanted to be there, because Portland has these pretty big naked bike rides anyway. I have a hard time believing that all of these are here to protest ICE. Yeah, this is a bridge in Portland. But there were quite a few people there. All right. Well, that's enough for timelines. Do you have anything you guys wanted to talk about before we go? We've been going for about an hour and a half. It's about time to wrap it up. Any questions, comments, anything you want to talk about? Let's see what's going on. Joe Man. Yeah. Cow traps are railway. Let's see where I lost it. They are railway spikes welded together to puncture tires. Yeah. They know where Honey Badger Mom lives now and put cow traps in her driveway. Yeah, and people have encouraged her to move, but she says that she's got cameras and big dogs and plenty of firearms and people to help protect her. So she doesn't want to move. She doesn't want them to push her out of her home. So I guess she knows best. Apocalypse Tech. No offense, Joe Man, but Apocalypse Tech reads Revelations quite regularly. He does an amazing job putting together numbers and correlations when it comes to scriptures and day counts. I don't know why you're telling him to read Revelation chapter 12. He's well aware. Apocalypse Tech. The woman in Revelation 12 is real and literal, and so is her man-child. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities of what that could be, but it could also be a figure of speech, and it could also be pointing to other things. And there's not necessarily one meaning, as evidenced by the things that are happening. Alrighty. I think we're probably good, you guys. So there you go. That's your daily torment report. It doesn't look like. Let's go see what I did say. I wanted to go see what Tommy was doing. Tommy's being Tommy. Oh, super inappropriate. Okay, we're not going to watch Tommy. He's being really inappropriate. All right, no, but nothing's really going on. I'm going to call it there, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for joining for the Torment Report. Until tomorrow or until something else happens that's worth streaming about. God